calling all parents. Get up to 50% off all of Old Navy's amazing kids and baby styles right now. Hurry in for $2 flip-flops, $4 tees and tanks, $6 graphic tees, and $8 dresses and boy shorts at Old Navy and OldNavy.com. High fashion, Old Navy. Valid 5/1 to 5/9.
It's the new Panic Room. It's the show other shows want to be, and the show that authors want to be on.
Show is brought to you by hellboundbooks.com.
Well, here we are again, episode 42 of the New Panic Room, and welcome one and all, dear listener, etc., etc. It's Thursday night, 9:30 Central, and it is the all new. Well, no, it's not new anymore. To be honest, it's been going a while, so we should just call it Panic Room, I think. So, hey, yeah, welcome. We've got a show, probably, and it is, in fact, I was speaking to somebody just before I came on air about the moon. They said, is it a full moon? And apparently it's a waxing gibbous, which means nothing to me. It's the moon. I mean, although the wind speed is, I've got this great little app actually, the wind speed is at 9 miles per hour, northwest here in Houston, Texas, if anybody who didn't know where Houston was. So, hey, I've missed her this week, I have to say, so I'm going to bring her straight on. How are you, my dear? Hey, it's today. It is, and we get to say, "May the 4th be with you."
You know what? I am gonna totally be a dork here because I don't know anything about Star Wars. I really don't. I'm pretty sure I may have seen one of the movies at some point or another, but
let's just skip over that.
I know.
Well,
I'm horrible. I'm an embarrassment.
I don't give you the whole story because that'd just be sad. But it's like it's a catchphrase. They say, "May the Force be with you." So of course,
I get that.
The Star Wars people sort of hijacked May the 4th as sort of Star Wars. And now I was thinking about it actually because I'm surprised in this day and age of political correctness that people haven't tried to ban that. So it's offensive to people with speech impediments.
Really?
You're taking. I'm surprised. That somebody has not. Sorry, you're being on people who can't pronounce the S's properly, and you're taking the piss out of them and that and whatnot. People like to get offended. They look for things to get offended about, like the recent hoo-ha about the Colbert, Stephen Colbert. Colbert, as we call him in Yorkshire, Stephen Colbert. It's funny. I mean, it was a funny line actually because I actually saw it as it happened, and he described Donald Trump as Vladimir Putin's cockholster. Now, I thought that was funny. I thought it was great. It paints a picture of the guy. He's in the guy more than in the guy's pocket. There's all the allegations of Russia rigging elections, etc., etc. And people got on the little high horse. Oh, he's homophobic. How is that fucking seriously? If the guys were gay, even so, but they're not. People just, I'm going to be offended by it. It's usually it's one of the Trump supporters.
I don't know what it is about.
They're anti-gay
our world right now, we get
anyway.
offended at everything. It's bad.
I don't. Fuck it. If you're going to get offended, fuck off. That's what I say. I mean, if you're going to be offended by, I can be offensive. Well, off air, and I'm not even going to do it on air. I will tell you the most offensive joke I ever made on stage. In fact, there's two actually.
Oh God.
One is just. I'm not going to repeat. No, one. It was more a circumstantial thing, but it was just an off-the-cuff remark that was just like people's jaws. You could hear the jaws dropping and hitting the floor. Which, to be fair, is the venue's fault because they kept me waiting to go on. I'd had a couple of beers.
Our listener wants to hear it.
I don't know. I don't often. As a golden rule, I never drink before I go on stage for this very reason. And because I've got my material, whatever. But I just made this observation, and seriously, I mean, to be fair, the room just went wild. It was the biggest laugh I've ever got in my whole stand-up career. But I would not repeat it on air. But no, some people just get offended. I mean, you've got your archetypal, redneck, rootin', tootin' and shooting Trump supporter. Is homophobic. Yeah. They don't like gay people. Oh, I'm going to be offended on behalf of the gay people. Well, I'm sure, A, the gay people don't want you to be offended for them, and 2, I'm sure the gay people weren't offended by the joke. Trump is, to be fair, Trump is he's a wanker. I mean, the man is a fucking ass. I mean, if there's a Trump supporter listening, I don't care. The man, he was voted, and he's a tit. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's just, in fact,
I think it was a huge on our world.
Grab him by the pussy.
You know what uranium is, right? It's a thing called nuclear weapons and other things. Like lots of things are done with uranium, including some bad things.
So I'm going to get offended on behalf of uranium because obviously Trump says that's bad things, bad things. It's funny. He seems to think that by repeating a word it makes it, because I think his vocabulary is so limited. It's like there's going to be a major war. Well, can you not think of another word?
Major more times.
There's going to be a major war, or major war. And after that, a major bad war.
Yes.
I mean,
I'm going to double dog dare you.
I double dog dare you, Mr. Chinky Chonk. Come on, throw your missiles at us because you're rubbish. You are. I mean, my 8-year-old has a broader vocabulary than the President of the United States, and it's a scary, scary situation.
Yeah, it really is. It really. I can't even say a whole lot about that because it's too easy. I'm going to say right now that because I've had a shit day, I started drinking a little earlier than I normally do. So our commercials are going to be so much fun tonight.
I love you. Buy this book because it's fucking awesome.
I'm hoping by the time we get to the commercials, I can still read them. So.
Well, just make sure. I mean, it's fine. So hey, we have a show. Obviously, we're going to rename the show Jim Longmore's Fun with Fruit Flies.
Wait. And Xtina's baseball corner.
You are steady on. We'll do baseball cornering segment 2. We have CJ Roberts and Lance Tuck joining us this evening. 2 awesome authors. CJ is, as we say, if they've been on before, we say they're a friend of the show. So she's a friend of the show, which is good. Lance, looking forward to having a chat with him in a minute or two. We have Becky the reviewer, who's going to be, I'm assuming, reviewing something. So hi Becky, if she's listening. It's all exciting. Obviously, lots of sort of fruit fly related fun and frolics. I feel.
Baseball.
Did you know? Did you know Gregor Mendel, who pioneered genetic studies way back in the 15th, 16th century? He did his studies on green beans and fruit flies. He did a lot of genetic studies are done because they have such a short lifespan, such a short breeding cycle. As I found out in my kitchen, you spray them and they're back the next day in force. We've bred overnight, so. But fruit flies are fun.
You started that bit with saying, did you know? And no, I did not know that. And how would I know that? That was that just I had no clue. But we do learn something every week on the show. We do.
Yeah, we do. I shall try and throw in some fun fruit fly facts throughout the show. So
I need more butterfly facts because apparently I know nothing about butterflies.
You know nothing. You can't even mention the word butterfly. I'm sorry, because you're just wrong. You're just wrong. So, who's our first guest, Xtina? And it's not a butterfly. Who is it?
I'm drinking. It's Lance Tuck is our first guest.
Thank you. I thought I'd just let you do something. Lance, are you there, sir?
I am here.
Hi.
Good. Hopefully you've learned some fascinating things about fruit flies this evening.
Well, I'm a friend of Druff in Atlanta. I know the fly.
So, Lance is here to talk to us about Hell Freezes Over, Book 3 of the Paladin sequence. So, the tagline, Oblivion has come. That sounds pretty intriguing. So, hey, Lance, the airwaves are yours. Tell us a bit more about this.
All right. Hell Freezes Over is the third book in the Paladin sequence. The Paladin sequence is a series of horror novels. It's a retrospective of one man's attempts to learn what's happening in the world around him. He's been involved with demons, infernals, and he's trying to learn exactly what his position is with these infernals.
Awesome. So,
I have to say that, here we go. We're both talking at the same time. I have to say that I've started reading the first book, and I'm really enjoying it. I really am. There's something about demons that just I love to be scared, and I love when anything to do with demons. That really is kind of my thing is, So I'm really liking it, and I can't wait to keep reading. Speaking of readings, do you like how I did this? Do you have a reading for us?
I do.
It's my favorite part of the show because I get to sit back. Yeah, no, Russ. Well, see, I get to sit back and drink more when the guest is reading. So.
Oh, dear me.
All right. Do you want me to begin with it?
Yep. Yes, sure. Go for it.
Yes.
Go for it.
Excellent. Here we go. This is Hell Freezes Over, the Paladin Sequence, Book 3, Chapter 25. The left side of Father Reynolds' face had 3 deep furrows torn from the temple to near the chin, crimson chasms of gore where the priest's eyelid and ear had been. Tom recoiled. He'd seen this injury in the photos of what had happened to Francis Reynolds. Elise stared dumbly, not certain what to do. Jump out and help him? Was his back even intact? Could he be moved? Father Reynolds looked directly at her. Run, he croaked, straining to speak, unable to understand why she was just sitting there. Run, damn it! He slid limply off the hood of the vehicle as his eyes began to roll back. He made no effort to catch himself. Elise realized that those injuries were not survivable. She heard automatic weapons fire and screams back at the chapel. The Templars. She knew she had to run, to get help. It didn't sound like the Templars were winning as the nun jerked the SUV into gear. Not Myron, Tom thought. Myron was one of Oliver Law's elite Templars. They hadn't arrived yet. As he refocused, he saw that Sister Elise was hauling ass around the second switchback. They looked out the window, back toward the chapel. An unholy fire blazed in the shattered ruins of the stained glass. No screams could be heard over the roaring engine and the idiot radio still blaring, "Hope you guess my name." Something leapt up onto the stained glass frame. It was dark, sinewy. It moved like a damn menace. It rose in the firelight, baleful yellow-green eyes shining from a field of black, bat-like wings adding thrust to its leaps as it paused a moment. It locked eyes with them. Terror forced her to drive the machine faster, exceeding any standards of safe driving as she tore around the third switchback. The abomination jumped enthusiastically into the stormy sky, lightning arcing around it, shaking the earth with the barometric burst of the thunder that came with it. Powerful wings caught the rising wind. The elements seemed to obey the will of this horror. Faster still, she raced towards the second switchback, praying fiercely for some indication of what to do. Tom tried to calm her, willing her to slow down just enough to make it around the precipitous drop. 2 more, and she could reach one of the logging roads, away from the cliff face. She had momentarily lost sight of the demon. Then she heard it. The sound of nails on chalkboard amplified 1,000 times, echoed through the cab as the fiend's claws dug into the metal shell around Elise. It was pounding on the top. Its fist caved in the roof, and icy rain now pouring in made the wheel slippery. It used its powerful wings to shift the trajectory of the SUV, forcing it over the cliff. She tried to hold on, tried to keep control, but it was just too much. Her hand slipped, and the vehicle flew into the air, falling down the mountain, falling, until she couldn't remember what had happened. Elise was awake now, hanging upside down, held in tightly by the seatbelt. The windows were gone, shattered. She was soaking wet, some of it icy cold rain, some of it hot, sticky. Her eyes struggled to adapt to the darkness, but she was seeing spots of white and blue light. Concussion, she could tell. She'd gotten enough of boxing with her brothers. She tried to see came loose. Her weight lurched forward. She snapped. Mercifully, she couldn't feel a thing. Elise, are you all right? She could hear Father Reynolds outside, very close. Had she wrecked the vehicle? She had no idea where she was. Father, I'm trapped. My leg's pinned. I think it may be broken. She tried to move to see where the priest was. For what? A shadow fell across the gap where the windshield had been. Elise could see Father Reynolds bending down to look into the cab of the SUV. Yes, I see it. I'm going to get you free from this. His voice was almost in her head. She thought she must have really rung her bell good to have such audio distortion. She could see movement during the crumpled driver's side door, but Father Reynolds still stared blankly from in front of the truck. A powerful tear at the door. Metal groaned as it gave. A bolt of lightning lit up the night, clearly illuminating Father Reynolds' ruined face. 3 deep furrows torn across the left side, his eyes dim and milky. He'd been dead for some time. Elise began to scream. Outside, Abaddon threw away the priest's head that it had been using as a hand. Tried to be friendly. It had recognized the great opportunity that was presented here. It was trying to make the human comfortable. Abaddon had heard that they reacted well to friendly faces. This brothers can't trust what they say in the pit. Another struggling, squirming, his leg was broken. Abaddon knew that, but there was something else, a presence. The demon knew that this was related to its mission. Contact Gerald Ironblood. It reached into the SUV, easily bending aside the metal, snapping up the injured nun. In spite of the struggling, Abaddon was careful to not damage the little human any further. There was an echo here that did not belong. The Infernal sensed it. It forced its thoughts into her mind as she saw it in its full infernal glory. I tried to make this easy for you. I showed you a familiar face. You have something about you, something I can use. The cadaverous face looked like some sort of wide, longhorn skull with tightly drawn, leathery skin. Its eyes were glowing at this close range. There was no trick of the light. The infernal's eyes emitted a soul-draining yellow-green radiation and sapped the will of whoever looked into them. Its speech was no speech at all, but a powerful telepathic projection. The words it sent were alien, to translate themselves in the mind of the listener. Abaddon had no lower jaw and was completely incapable of speech. It freely salivated, using a viscous green fluid that slowly ate away at whatever it drifted on. Its hideous tongue writhed like some sort of leech probing for prey. The only sounds it produced were wet slurps and a raspy hissing noise. Not really breath. It wasn't clear if this thing respired at all. Elise was screaming as the demon leapt into the misty night sky, carrying her along effortlessly in its talons. It would probe her and learn what she carried with her, and why. It flew high in the air, then dove straight back, spreading its wings as it caught a rising thermal to carry it back up to the chapel. It had gone all out on some redecoration with this. There was still more to decorate with. I heard the twinkle frame. So that would be chapter 5.
Awesome. Yeah, you have a great voice for doing demon voices, I have to say. I really enjoy it.
I love that part.
They told me that at church.
Yeah. You don't go to church anymore, I take it.
They kicked me out when I was 6.
Yeah. The first time you
I was Mormon, believe it or not.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Oh,
so
yeah.
are you a lapsed Mormon now?
Oh, I don't know. They have to come by once in a while. They usually leave.
Oh,
yeah, we get the religious lot coming around here, and it's interesting. It's interesting.
I like to talk with them. They're fun.
Yeah, they always come because obviously I work from home. Like I think most writers, and they always knock on the door. At the most inopportune moment. I'm trying to work, and the dog's barking. Just everything going on. I just. One day I'm going to just engage them on the doorstep and see if I can convert them. That would be awesome.
Oh my God! The inner Baptist girl in me is cringing. It really is. So.
Yeah, they always come into our tattoo shop. I'm a tattooist, and they come in there and try and convert us. And God, he's really barking up the wrong tree here, but sure, come on in. We'll take your books.
Yeah.
I actually bored a Jehovah's Witness out of the place one time. Sat there and chatted with them for 45 minutes and bored them out. Yeah. They left.
Wow.
It's funny when I using. I mean, I was I think about 17. Obviously back in England, and we had a couple of Jehovah's Witnesses came to the door, and I opened the door. I mean, so me at 17, sort of gangly, hormonally challenged, sort of spotty teenager, and there's a couple on and the girl was the most stunning creature I'd ever seen. I mean, it's like, wow, and okay, can we come back and talk? Yeah, you can come back. Of course, they came back and they sent this hideous old hag. And scared me. Where's the beautiful girl? I don't talk to you, you Harridan. Get off my doorstep. I'm just, never mind that. But no, she could have converted me quite merrily. I'd have been knocking on doors every Sunday. No problem. So, Lance, I mean, obviously, with your penchant for demons and whatnot, who are your big influences?
Let's see. I'm a big fan of H.P. Lovecraft's work. I love Alan Moore's work. Fan of Stephen King. Like a lot
Clive
of
Barker?
different ones.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Clive Barker.
Clive Barker's a big sort of hell and demon sort of chap. It's
Oh yeah, I love his movies and several of his stories. I like Rawhead Rex.
Do that was a great, very much underrated film actually.
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
When I read, I think the story was it in Books of Blood or was it a standalone? I can't remember. I remember reading the story and then I came across the movie years and years later. It was sort of buried in the back in the remember the heady days of video stores. And I thought, I wonder if that's the same Rawhead, and sure as eggs is eggs, it was, and it's not half a bad film. It's the effects are a bit ropey, but it's got all the blood and guts that. Funnily enough, I've just got and I've not seen it for years. I've just got myself a copy of Midnight Meat Train.
Oh yeah.
Which
to me that just sounds like a porn. I've never seen
it could be. It could. If that's where your mind goes, fair enough. But it's again the short story is one of the Books of Blood, and it was a great little very atmospheric short story. And the movie, I mean, is a good, tight little film, And again, it's very Lovecraftian because it's the whole, the Grand Masters living under the ground, and the whole thing was just, it's amazing how much Lovecraft seeps into, I think everyone's, right? Everybody who writes horror at some point writes something that's at least vaguely Lovecraftian. I mean, is he sort of one of your biggest influences, Lance?
Yeah, I read him pretty early. My dad actually was a big fan of the various Pulp Fiction novels. So he had the Nomads of War. He had a lot of the John Carter books, a lot of the Lovecraft stuff that was put out in the 1960s. So when I was 4 or 5 years old, I was reading those. And probably wasn't right, but, hey,
Right.
I didn't remember them. When I got older, I was a teenager, and I didn't recall that I'd read them, but I kept hearing about this guy, this H.P. Lovecraft. And then as I'd read the stories, I was like, I've read this before. And then I remembered. I found my dad's old books. I was like, oh, yeah, I did read these. A lot of Edgar Rice Burroughs. A lot of that with that, too.
Yeah. Awesome. So I'm guessing you're probably around the same age as me. So, we grew up. I always had my nose in a book. I mean, because obviously we didn't have the PlayStations and 300 channels on the TV. All the rest of it. But I think it's funny we were saying earlier about, certainly make me sound old. Kids today really, the general knowledge base is appalling, and I think it's because they don't read. They just don't read. I mean, it's as simple as that, And
memes are all the kids read these days, or memes on social media. I swear that's all they actually read.
Yeah. I mean, let me tell you a true story. My son's language arts teacher. Sent an email. I mean, they're very big at emailing to get the parents to do the teacher's job. Well, if the kid's not doing his work in class, that's your fucking job, not mine. She sent this thing out saying, there's this assignment not been done. So I modern parent, texted him, what the fuck, why haven't you done this? And it's something about the Holocaust and Nazis. That's what they're studying. I said, why have you not done it? and get this direct quote, and he's probably listening. He said, "I didn't know anything about it, so I couldn't do the assignment." Seriously,
God.
you have in your pocket more computing power than it took to put a man on the moon, and B, the sum total of pretty much all human knowledge on your cell phone, and you are telling me you don't know anything about the Nazis and the Holocaust enough to finish this assignment? Seriously?
That's so
and
sad.
it's just that, isn't it?
Yeah, I remember having assignments to do for school and spending days and days at the library and looking at and just and these days a couple taps of your fingers and you can get any information at all, and the kids really and we're suffering because of it. I think all the kids it's bad.
I had again. It's just something
because they become so lazy. I definitely think
it's lazy because I had my A-level biology teacher, great chap, and he would give us like for homework, look up something on platyhelminthes, for example. And so we'd go. Flatworms. Sorry, we would go planarian. Great word, planarian.
Absolutely. Very Alan Moore.
Write that down. Planarian. Have you got that, Xtina? And
I know.
his philosophy was that you would go home with this big thick book, go through your big thick textbook, and you're going through, you're looking up planarians, whatever, and something else to catch your eye, so you'd read that almost like learning by osmosis, and that's how whereas these days they want to know about that, hit that, boom, Wikipedia, whatever it is, and that, but they don't. Nothing seeps in from anywhere else. They learn what they have to learn, I guess, to pass the test or whatever. They don't learn around. The joy of learning isn't there anymore.
Very highly contextual, and they don't learn the context. They just get the bit of information, but outside of its context, that bit of information isn't that useful. I have people all the time. Yeah, at the tattoo shop, I have people all the time. Yeah, they say they don't want to learn theory. They want to learn facts. And it's like, okay, well, facts are draped on the tree of theory. Facts don't mean anything unless you've got theory to make them meaningful.
Exactly, yeah. And it's funny, and I've known people who will spout those facts and then say that they're really intelligent. So, well, no, you just repeat. To be fair, you could teach a parrot to recite, say, Newton's third law of motion, but he wouldn't understand it. And that's kids. They can recite it, for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. But what does it mean? As Lance said, in the context of physics, of movement and matter and all the rest of it, where does that fit? And they don't know. Oh, I can repeat that, and I write that in my test. I get, 90% of my STARS tests because they give us 3 goes to pass it. And it's just so. They test the kids. My 8-year-old. She's in test. You get test and test and test. Well, but okay, you're doing all these tests, but when are they actually teaching you stuff? And
yes. I think it was a couple years ago when I forget what grade my daughter was going into, but they actually told her, basically from the time that the year was starting, all they were teaching the children were how to pass this test at the end of the year, and that was it. That's it.
There's a great episode of The Simpsons, a great scene on The Simpsons where they're preparing the kids for the national standardized tests. And I don't know if I'm a big Simpsons fan. I watch a lot of Simpsons. And Principal Skinner stood there in front of the class and he's going, right, and now for the test. And he's A, D, B, C, and he's teaching them this. And as a parody, that was perfect because that's what they do. Yeah. They teach them how to pass the test. They might as well just give them, let's learn the mnemonic, A, C, D, B, 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 and that's how. And but they learn nothing. I look at the knowledge base of my 14-year-old now, versus what I knew, what I was learning at 14, and it's not even close. He's sort of learning now at 14 what we were being taught at 10 or 11.
And they're really crazy things.
And they're not reading. In the books that we had to read, they're required reading. I don't remember my daughter ever reading. There was nothing. and I think that's really sad. The books that we had to read, the classic books that we hated doing it at the time, but I don't know.
Well, they teach you the root metaphors of different cultures. You get books like Moby Dick and things like that. Kids are like, why would I want to read that? I'm not a whaler. It's like, right, but it's not about a whale. They're like, well, I thought it was about the whale Moby Dick. It's like, it is, but it's more about the struggle. Yeah, I struggle myself, but not against whales.
Yeah, I would say it was almost. You can sell it to them. It's kind of like an early Jaws. Oh yeah, I'll read that. Huh? We it's funny enough when I did English lit, we read To Kill a Mockingbird, which is in fact I have the sequel actually on my bookshelf on my list of things to read. I almost read that. We did Shakespeare, obviously. We Robert Burns' poem. I loved John Wyndham. I'm a big John Wyndham fan. We actually got to read a John Wyndham novel. That was part of my O-level English lit, and I'd read it sort of like 5 years before, so. Which was great, and I loved all of that. But now I don't think they actually read proper books, to be honest with you.
No,
I really don't.
See, a lot of times I'll have to tell my clients because they'll ask me about good things to read, and I'll try and turn them on to comics. I'm a huge fan of comic books, but in order for them to get interested, I have to tell them, well, you need to read this stuff beforehand so that these stories will make sense. So I tell them Planet Hulk is basically John Carter of Mars with Gladiator thrown in. And they're like, what? Read the book, you'll get it.
Yeah. So I guess they need the point of reference. I mean, I think we're beginning to sound like a sort of an educational show now. So
right.
We need stop learning things, people. Yeah, I'm very close to throwing in some more fruit fly facts. So
oh God,
I'm ready for
the 11 questions. Do you have our little jingle ready, James?
Yeah, go for it. I am.
Okay.
And now, 11 questions.
Okay, Lance, what's your guilty pleasure?
Comic books.
Awesome. Baked beans, ranch style or pork and beans? And I was not being judgy just then, James. I wasn't.
It'd be the pork and beans.
That's the right answer. Okay, puppies or kittens?
Puppies.
What's your favorite lunch meat?
Strangely, that pickle and pimento loaf.
What is that?
That sounds.
It's like bologna with pickle and pimento in it, but you got to fry it to make it good.
Oh, I want some.
Okay, what was your favorite car?
Mad Max's car from Road Warrior.
And James, I remembered the whole red convertible car. I remembered it was a LeBaron. It was a LeBaron.
Awesome. It's only taken you 42 weeks. Well done. Yeah.
Yeah, only. Okay, what do you fear most, snakes or spiders?
Wow, neither one really. Spiders, I guess.
That's the right answer. Anyway, Freddy, Jason, or Pinhead?
Pinhead.
First draft, handwritten or word processor?
Preferably handwritten.
Really?
Yeah.
I can barely sign my name. Favorite alcoholic drink?
Wow, that's a tough one. Moonshine.
One interesting non-writing related fact about you.
Let's see. I used to work on a feed yard. I used to ride horses.
Awesome. And here is our bonus question, and this one's basically just for me. Baseball or stamp collection?
Stamp collection.
Oh,
yeah, there we go. Awesome. 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 That was good. I say Lance is only the second person whose first draft is handwritten. It's hand stamped.
That's right.
Third.
True.
3 for stamp collecting, actually. So,
Just not a baseball guy.
No, me neither.
Does that make you a stamp collection guy? Come on now.
I'm not really a stamp collecting guy, but I actually have stamps because they make dinosaur stamps and other weird ones from other countries, so I collect those.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah, if it's a reptilian horror, I want it.
Yeah, we need to have a whole show about stamps, I think.
No. We can talk about baseball.
Let's see. I'm going to see if I can find some commemorative stamps with fruit flies on them. I think that would be great.
There's bound to be some.
Hey, we could have stamps of baseball players. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, we could.
But we won't.
No. Not while ever I'm running the switchboard thing. No, that's not going to happen. Not on my watch.
No,
really.
Our guest from last week mentioned fruit flies playing baseball would be kind of interesting.
They're
more interesting than people watching, people playing it. Yes.
Oh,
yes,
come on now. I love baseball.
I could actually sit and watch that. I could sit and watch fruit. Yeah, these used to be the little flea circuses. These are the little flea circuses. You could do fruit flies, just have little baseball caps on and little bats, and I would sit and watch that. Yes.
That would be kind of cute.
When I was in college, I didn't enjoy baseball. I had some friends that tried to get me into it, and I watched it with them for a few hours. Like, okay, so do you get it? It's like, yeah, I think so. The guy with the club, if he goes to the first base, you drink a third of your beer. If he takes to the second base, you drink half the beer. If he goes to the third base, you throw the beer over everybody. If he goes to the fourth base, you order 2 beers. And they're like, okay, that's basically it. And I'm like, okay, cool. Then it's a good game.
No, that's not. There's so much more to baseball than that. There really is. We need to have a conversation.
You're talking about the milk duds, aren't you?
There is. There's a whole inner game to baseball that you have to learn. See, the whole inner game.
There's a great Family Guy episode where I think Peter, for some reason, is not drinking. He goes to the baseball game, and he just literally said, I didn't realize without drinking how boring this game is. So I think it's just like, as Lance has hit the nail on the head, it's about beer. It's about drinking.
Hey,
that's why people get. That's why they invented tailgating, so people could get pissed up before the game and actually have a chance of enjoying it.
They can dramatically increase attendance and popularity by adding one simple feature: landmines.
Now we're talking. Or maybe sort of a barbed wire obstacle course, you know, like they do for the Marines, and have that between the bases. So instead of running from the base to base, they've got to sort of go under the barbed wire and over the vaulting horse thing, and then under the cargo net. That would be great, wouldn't it? I would watch that.
That's
one of these weeks, we're going to get another baseball fan on, and that's all we're going to spend the whole time talking about, James, is baseball. I'm going to go searching for a guest who loves baseball now.
Again, I shall just remind you again who actually runs the control board for the show, so I can dummy you at any time. Remember that.
But it wouldn't be as much fun without me, though.
You know, that is true. That is true.
This first segment of ours has sped by really fast, and I'm wondering if it's the beer. I'm not sure if it's just me or not. But Lance, can you tell us where we can find you on social media?
We've got Facebook, The Paladin Sequence, and we got books available on Amazon as well. So.
And we do have your links put up on our on the Panic Room Facebook site, so people can go there and find you as well. And,
so you have a website, Lance, as well to plug?
Yeah, it's thepaladinsequence.com. I don't have a personal one, but that's the one we run all of the book stuff through. Thepaladinsequence.com.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to borrow that after Xtina. That sounds. If it's demons, I'm in. Definitely. I'm going to.
Right.
Yeah.
I
got a lot of demons. I got some crazy angels and some long dead gods and all kinds of fun things jumping out of the woodwork.
Oh yeah. That sounds.
Right up my street. Oh, wait till you get book 4, the Skinwalkers. Book 4. Whoa.
All right. When does that hit the shelves? Or is that out now?
I'm not sure. We got a couple months yet.
Have you written it yet?
Oh, it's written. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Written nearly 10 years ago.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay, fine. Yeah. Well, I by the time I've got through the first 3, hopefully that'll be out, so I can pick that one up.
Right. Should be out.
And thinking of when it comes out, will you promise to come back and see us? And see, it's the way I worded, they have no choice but to say yes. So I'll stalk you at the end of the show and get you to come back.
Oh, she will. She will.
I'm in. If it's more fruit flies, I'm totally down. I love gossip.
I'm going to have more and more fun facts with fruit flies. Yes. Yes. We might do a whole segment.
Well, I really thank you for agreeing to come on the show and see and talk with us. And again, this segment went by really, really fast, and so next time we need to have him on for the whole show. And he can just read though, because he read really great. So we're gonna have another show.
Yeah, I was hypnotized.
I love the sound effects. Those are really cool.
Yeah. Okay, Lance, thank you so much indeed for joining us.
All right, thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.
I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Bye. Awesome. Great. I think time just whizzes by. It's scary. It's scary. So, commercials. Now, here we go.
I know. I think I'm already starting to slur my words a tiny little bit, so thank you. I was hoping that we could get, past this part. Let's
could we?
It's just... We here at Hellbound Books would like to inform you that, following the appropriate rituals, a portal has opened and spawned a horde of hellish delights in which you mortals can partake. Depraved Desires, our dark erotica and erotic horror anthology, shopping list, learn your favorite author's shopping habits and confront them in the produce aisle, and the Big Book of Bootleg Horror, a sinister tome dripping with taboo things to make your skin crawl. All are available at your favorite outlets. Find your links to them at hellboundbookspublishing.com. And finally, we at Hellbound Books are proud to announce our very own app on both Google Play and the App Store. And let's see, we have, you can find James at his website, www.jameslongmore.com. And don't forget to follow the Panic Room Radio on social media, our Facebook page, Unofficial The Panic Room Radio Show, Twitter at Panic Room Radio, our YouTube channel, The New Panic Room Radio Show, and come visit our website, www.panicroomradio.com. I didn't do too bad, did I?
Yeah, you managed to not slur too much. That was great. So,
God.
So you go open another bottle. I'm going to go and get rid of some of this water I've taken on board, and we will be back in 2 minutes 40 seconds.
Are you lonely? Only 'cause there is nobody near. If someone new should kiss you, will your heartaches disappear? I love you so, and I've gotta know. Could somebody take my place tonight? Could two other arms enfold you in a warm embrace? Could two other lips get close enough to kiss your face? I love you so, I wanna know. Could somebody take my place tonight? I've been gone so long, I get to wondering, are you being true, or have you found somebody new? Write me, call me, tell me that you're still in love with me. Let me know the worst, if that's the way it's gotta be. Don't you know I love you so, and I've gotta know. Could somebody take my place tonight? Don't you know I love you so, and I gotta know. Could somebody take my place tonight? Could somebody take my place tonight? Could somebody take my place tonight?
So, welcome back to part 2. Are you there, Xtina?
I am, and I am refreshing my drink too. So beware.
You might. You're suitably refreshed. That is great. That is, yeah. That was a fun. But Lance was fantastic. Thank you, Lance. If you're still listening, thank you for being on the show. Let's say we had a little technical problem on his end, but it actually added to the demonic quality of the reading, which
yes,
was fantastic. So did you manage? Did you wangle a free copy, or did you actually pay for it?
I did. I have books 1 through 3. Ha ha.
Oh dear. What, in paper or in pretend?
In paperback. In paperback on my shelf. Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right. Okay.
I'm not sharing.
Fuck off then. I don't care.
Hey now, that's not very nice.
So hey, I forgot what happens next now. Yeah, we've got Becky the reviewer. I'm not sure which number she is at. Got all these numbers on the board here, and I don't know which one she is. So I could guess, but I'm not going to. No, I do know what I'm doing, really. I think so. Hopefully this is it. Becky the reviewer. Are you there, Mom?
Yes.
Good. So you are now officially Becky the reviewer. So that's it. So live with it.
I have been called much worse.
Oh my lordy! So, and how are you? How are you this fine evening?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Good. I'm okay. Yeah, it's been a day. It's
Yeah. Xtina had a hard day today.
Xtina's had a bit of a rough one, but I think
a couple of months actually. I got to catch a break sooner or later. Otherwise, I'm going to really develop this drinking habit, this drinking problem. Right now, I'm just trying to develop it.
You do not have a drinking problem. I keep telling you have no problem drinking whatsoever. So
I don't.
It's all working out well. It's all
yes,
working.
She's got 2 hands and 1 mouth. That's a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh God.
So hey, what are you reviewing for this evening, young Becky?
The Big Book of Bootleg Horror.
Woo! Go for it. Do tell us more.
It's
or not. I mean,
it's
up to you.
Just a little bit more, or a whole lot more. It's published by I can't even talk now. It's published by Hellbound Books Publishing. They're the ones that did the
Depraved Desires.
Anthology. Yes, the anthology that I talked about last week. I'm telling you, are you sure that you didn't give me your drink?
I was just going to say, is Becky drinking too?
No.
Well, I think she needs to.
Yeah, exactly. There's 20 stories in this book, and I'm telling you, I've read a lot of the anthologies, and I've liked, pretty much all of the anthologies I've ever read. But the last 2 books that I have read are absolutely amazing. I mean, most of the writers until very recently, I was not familiar with. But it's been awesome because I'm introducing myself to new writers, so I'm like, my world just grew infinitely here, and I'm like, all right, because if they can write these stories in these anthologies, and if they write as well in their standalone books, then I'm all in. But I'm really impressed. I mean, the quality of the stories are just amazing. The books are really well edited. It's just quality. I mean, and I know that people will say I'm biased, but I'm really not. I mean, I just tell it like I see it, and most people know that about me.
Right.
So I highly recommend them.
Yes, I have not gotten a chance to read this one yet, and I can't wait because, I get so busy that I love to read the short stories because they're short enough that you can pick it up, you can read it in a story in just one setting, and then you have a whole nother one to I don't know, they're just, and I think they're really great. I mean, I have to admit that because I was the one who edited Depraved Desires, and I think that was so. The stories were amazing. So I just and I know that there are some. I believe there are some authors that have also are in the big book of bootleg horror, and so I can't wait because we had some great authors that contributed to them. So I can't wait.
Yes, the very first story in bootleg by S.E. Rise. Oh man, I mean, I was just like, it just sucked me in. I was like, I'm ready. Let's read this. And then there's this story at the end by this guy. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of him, Xtina. James Longmore.
Oh, really? That guy?
Yeah.
I've heard he's really, really good.
I'm not going to say what I've heard about him.
Yeah, but he has this really weird fascination with stamps.
Right.
And doesn't like baseball. I mean, really?
Careful. Finish the thin ice.
But, actually, everybody needs stamps, so it's okay with me.
So Becky, you're about to say how brilliant James Longmore's short story was it in the Big Book of Bootleg Horror?
It really is. I mean, it was the absolute perfect story to end the book on.
There you go.
I have to admit, I've read a lot of things by James, and I've always really enjoyed them. I really have. I'm still waiting for a sequel to Cold and Portia. By the way, I'm holding out. Someday.
Well, yeah, you never know. You've got to finish Pede yet. It's only you've had it 6 months now.
I
want another Flanagan. I want another Flanagan. Another one.
Yeah, a lot of people have said that actually. So maybe I should take the hint and knuckle down to that one.
Yeah.
Either the prologue to it or another one.
I must admit, I think I would probably write a prequel first.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I think that's probably for me the natural steps to write the prequel first and then do the sequel to it. But I've got a few things I need to get done before that. So I need to spend more time at the keyboard, I think.
Yeah, I think all of us writers do.
I'll agree with that one.
Well, I suppose stuff gets in the way all the time, and it's
Yeah. I know. You'll have to whip your help into shape.
We're talking whips
now. The minions
going. It didn't take as long to get into whips, did it?
No.
No, always ends up there, doesn't it? So Becky, what else have you been up to, my dear? While you've been reviewing things.
Oh, doing some awesome interviews with authors, and then helping set up some. We're taking submissions at Hellbound, so we've been posting and blogging about that, and just all kinds of craziness, and playing with our wonderful app. I love that thing.
How sexy is that app? I mean, really?
That app is dead sexy. I love it.
Good. So do I.
I've downloaded it everywhere.
It is in the part. It's next in the part. You can download books. You can submit. You can join the chat rooms and catch up on horror news. I mean, everything's there. It's great. I love it. I love it.
Panic Room Radio.
You can. That's it. You can log in and listen to the radio on your cell phone. It's brilliant. I love it.
Exactly.
I love it.
It is. It really is.
Yeah. Good out.
Everybody needs one.
Yeah, everybody should have the app, and if you download the app, you actually get a free copy of the anthology shopping list.
Yeah,
which is a great little freebie to have.
That's the one I'm reviewing next week, so I can't wait.
I was going to ask you that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I'm going to
Awesome.
start reading on that tonight.
Yeah, cool. Well, do enjoy.
Thank you.
Oh, here's a thing for you. Did you know that fruit flies live 40 to 50 days?
Really? I would have just thought, 1 or 2 days.
Yeah, I don't think
a female fruit fly. That's a common myth. Female fruit fly can lay as many as 500 eggs in a lifespan. That's a lot of eggs.
No wonder she doesn't live very long.
So that's why my kitchen's full of them bastards. To be honest, you got one, and then. I tell you, here's the funny thing. You know those little fruit fly traps you can get. It's basically a little plastic thing with vinegar, and they can crawl in, and they're not supposed to get out. I found, as I was cleaning one of mine out today, because we've got them dotted about, and they're crawling. They're actually breeding in the bloody traps. There's little egg cases in the traps. I thought, seriously, you're going in and breeding in there? You're supposed to die in there horribly and drown in vinegar. No, no, they're breeding in there.
Oh no.
Yeah, I got nothing. I don't think I eat any fruit.
Here's another one. I mean, fruit. Yeah. Did you know
that fruit flies? Is there a difference between fruit flies and gnats? Are they the same thing?
Oh, I'm just going to ignore that. Fruit flies and humans share 75% of genes that cause disease. So 75% of genes that cause genetic-based diseases we share with fruit flies. So that's why fruit flies are actually used a lot for, as I said before, for genetic research. That and their short life cycle. So there you go. And they actually breed them. You can actually buy from the pet store. I guess for if you've got a lazy chameleon or something, you can buy flightless fruit flies. They breed them, and the wings are just not strong enough. And there you go. You are learning. But we're going to recategorize this show under education. Because it is an education kind of show now. You can buy them. They have wings, but their wings are just not strong enough. Their wings are not strong enough, so they just can't fly. So I could do those in my kitchen, so I would kill them. So anyway, we're going to have to say goodbye now. Now you've learned a lot about fruit flies. We have our next guest, CJ Roberts, lined up, good to go, and we will speak to you next week, young Becky.
Thank you, Becky.
Thank you so much for joining us. Have a good night.
You too.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, gosh, you hang up. No, you hang up. No, you hang up first. No, you hang up first. It's like that. It's there, isn't it? So, hopefully we have CJ on the line. CJ, are you with us?
I am here.
Yay!
So, I was sounding a bit like a medium there, wasn't I? Is there anybody there, CJ? Are you in the room? Are you in the room? Are you knock once for yes and twice for no?
I'm not quite there yet, spirit, but I am getting there. No.
Yes. Is that a good thing?
Well, I'm imbibing many spirits, so that can only help.
Oh, so I'm gonna sit back and let you and Xtina have sort of a whole drunken half. Well, sorry, call it drunken half hour. Just go for it. That's great.
I have to say, I remember the last time that you were on, and there was something that you said that made me laugh so hard. We were talking, I can't remember the exact thing, but James was talking about he was going to read your book, and you were like, yeah, when I come on next, James is going to be like, so, Missy, I read your little book, and I don't know, but that just made me laugh so hard. That was just great. That, I remember, I think we gave him hell the last time you were on the show, and that was just awesome, because most of the time, James is the one giving everybody else hell. So it was awesome to sit back and that was great.
I seem to remember the last time CJ was on, I spent a lot of that half hour just speechless, to be honest with you.
Yes, I loved it. I did.
And also scared and just a little bit aroused as well. So very confused. It was a confusing evening.
I can barely tell the difference anymore.
Oh God.
I tell you, when you get to my age, you're grateful for either one. To be honest with you, just something.
My God. So I am really excited to hear about your the book, Trailer Park Eden, Book of Genesis. I'm really excited. So tell us more. Tell us more.
Well, basically, I've been working on it for a while in bits and pieces. Honestly, life has kind of kicked me in the ovaries the last couple of years. So it's been one of those very slow labor of love things. I actually wrote another book, and I hate it. So it's just sitting on my laptop until I don't hate it.
You do know that writers are their own worst critics, so it could be amazing.
No.
Amazing.
One of my best and worst qualities is that I am brutally honest with myself. And I'll tell you, it's just horrible.
Well.
But this, what I've been working on, and then I got kind of sidetracked by this project that I've been working on, and I'm really excited about it. Like I said, it's kind of slow going, but it's also very ambitious. So I just want to take the time and do it right, since it's been a long time since I've put out a book, and I kind of feel the need to kind of, come out swinging,
Right, definitely. So what can you tell us about it? I love the tagline, by the way, an erotic biblical parable. I mean, that is, again, my inner Baptist girl kind of cringes, but it's still amazing,
Well, if it's a book for me, like, the cringe factor is going to be always present.
I do know that, yes.
Disgusting, really.
No, I actually remember I had all three of the Dark Duet series on my Kindle, and I had them on there for quite a long time before I actually started reading, because I was scared. I had never read anything quite like it, and just reading the back and then even the cover, I just thought, this is gonna fuck me up or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and it did, but in a good way. I remember when I finished the epilogue book, it was 2:00 in the morning, and there was nobody around to share the experience with me. I got done, and I was like, oh my! I actually woke my mom up, and I went into her room, and I told her I think I told her the whole storyline of all three books. I was just that excited, and so I can't wait to read more from you.
I'm really
can't.
excited about it, actually. I mean, I know that the weird part is that, like I said, I feel like I need to come out with something, that I really am going to be proud to put my name on, but at the same time, I kind of recognize that I'm always going to be one of those people that writes something that is outside the bounds.
Right.
And so there's a really, and I said to myself, that's really crazy. Why, I go, if I could, and there's lots of really great books out there, but I just wish I could write something that is a little more palatable, because that would be great. If I could write something that people would actually buy and want to tell people that they bought, that would be wonderful. Instead, my stuff is more the things for so long, people had been reading my books. I know that they were, because I was, getting the sales, right? But no one was talking about it. Nobody was talking about it, because it was they just didn't, they didn't want to tell anybody.
Right.
And actually, that's kind of how the whole thing happened anyway. But, basically somebody with a bigger name than mine, a huge name, came out and was like, hey, this book is good. And I read it. And one person was like, oh, I read it and I actually liked it. Then other people were like, hey, I read it too, So
right.
I feel like I'm always going to be that. So considering that I make most of my money based on word of mouth, that's probably a stupid thing. But you can only write what you can. And unfortunately, that is the kind of fucked up shit that keeps me up at night. And you're welcome.
I absolutely, and it's funny when you say, people aren't really talking about it, because when I approached you to come on the show the first time and you said yes, it was like, oh my God, one of my rock stars said yes. I mean, I was so excited. I had the fangirl moment. I mean, it was amazing. I was like, C.J. Roberts is coming on the show. I mean, I actually said that to all my friends. I'm like, oh my God, we have C.J. Roberts, and I was so excited. I was. Because your books were one of the first I think one of the first like indie author books that I actually had on my shelf, not just my Kindle. I finished the series and I'm like, I have to have these in paperback. And now I see that they have new revamped covers. So now I'm like, damn it, I think I have to buy those too.
You're actually getting popular when people copy you.
That is true. That's true.
Yeah. Good Lord. But I'm excited about the new project. Like I said, it's like really ambitious, and I don't have a release date yet because I really suck. I need to set a release date and kind of hold myself accountable.
Right. Definitely.
But I have just been so, I don't know. I think the weirdest thing about me is always going to be that I'm an extroverted introvert. Like when you meet me, you're like, that girl's a riot. Like she's always doing, this and that and the other thing. And then really, there always comes that point in the night where I'm just kind of in a corner by myself reading a book, and I'm like, don't bother me.
Right. I do get that. I really do, because I think I'm kind of similar because, I'm loud and I laugh a lot and everything, but there's, leave me alone. I'm going to read now. And, speaking of the new project, though, do you have a reading for us?
I do. It's like 1,000 words. Is that too long?
I don't think so. I guess we'll keep an eye on the time, but no, I definitely don't think so. No.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, a little context, I guess. So this story, I grew up Catholic, and so I've always kind of been fascinated by everything. And I'm an atheist now. I don't know if I'm an atheist, more of an agnostic probably. Like I believe something is out there, right? But not anything we know about it.
I get that.
Yeah. So and people kind of try to preach to me a lot because they think like I arrived to that conclusion just kind of like aimlessly. I'm like, no, I've actually gone on, like I've done a lot of digging in my soul, and this is what I've come out with. So anyway, but I'm still always kind of fascinated, and I like to put things in people's face. So I got carried away with the story of Genesis and this whole. I always think it's a little, in the right light, mine. The Bible can be hot. So anyway, I got kind of obsessed with this idea of God and creation, and like God not knowing that God is God.
Okay.
Just kind of waking up in the dark and being like, what is this?
Nice.
So this is a story of a set of twins, a blind girl and a deaf boy. And, it's all very innocent until it's not. So let's dig in.
Yay.
Adam and Eve were related. I'll put that out there. Anyway, so I have it, I start out with a nice verse. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Genesis chapter 1, verse 2. Chapter 1. It's one of those nights. Parker's rhythmic breaths are deep and steady behind me, occasionally ghosting against the back of my neck. It's a delightful sensation, a secret caress. The stillness itself is a decadent secret between me and the dark, as I float somewhere between dreams and reality. I stroke the long, slender arm wrapped loosely around my middle. I revel in the tiny murmur of pleasure I elicit from my slumbering twin. Our trailer is quiet, and the world outside offers no signs of life. The bars must still be open because I don't hear our father stumbling around, snoring, or otherwise making his presence known. My heart is pounding, loud in my ears, and blood flows hot and insistent through my veins, causing my skin to beat up in a delicate pearl of sweat. The room is cold, but my body is not. Between my legs, I'm soaking wet. I want to touch. Sometimes when I dream, I am somewhere else, am in fact someone else, another Kylie. Sometimes I think I can see. It's nearly impossible to describe because this version of me has always been blind, and I lack the words to interpret where my dreams take me or the person I inhabit when I am there. Somewhere in any number of infinite universes, there is a version of me with the ability to see. There are others as well, different Kylies, exploding throughout the universe, slightly altered. but there is always a constant, something every version of myself has in common. There is always a Parker, and I always love him. I am with him tonight in that other world. I am with him now in our bed, in our room. But I am also there. I can smell him simultaneously, salty and sun-warm in that world, warm and sleep-sour in this one. I can feel his weight on top of me as he presses me down into something soft. Our bed while he snuggles closer. The grassy earth in that other world where the sun's heat prickles my eyelids, too bright to open my eyes, keeping me blind when I long to see beyond my limitations. What would I see if I opened my eyes? The darkness of my reality or the intangible sun in that other world? What surreal delights await my dually conscious mind? I linger in that other world, the one where Parker is touching me in every way I've wanted for so very long. The flesh of Parker's back is hot against the palms of my hands. I dig the tips of my fingers into him. I am needy and ungentle. Darker shadows skitter across my thin-skinned lids, and I know that if I can just open my eyes, my twin will be there. Finally, I will see Parker. But I can't open my eyes, so instead I lose myself in the pleasure of my other senses. I open my mouth and receive his tongue, taste his wet sweetness, twirl his tongue with my own and moan. I make sounds he cannot hear, but that he can surely feel as they vibrate along his skin. In reality, our kiss is nothing more but a surge of my own saliva in my mouth and a deep swallow. This is my greatest shame, my dreadful secret, my unavoidable sin, and yet it is the only truth I know. This love is my obsession. I can't resist the urge to grind backward into the pillow between our bodies. Parker huffs, unconscious and annoyed at having his precious sleep interrupted, and rolls over. My body follows his, an instinct since the days of our shared womb. My fingers splay over his heated ribcage, and my mouth closes over the pillow. In that other world, our bodies are rocking together. In truth, I am dreaming of a faceless stranger. Everyone in my dreams is a faceless stranger. But it's Parker's scent in my nose, his flesh beneath my fingers, the taste of his sweat on our bedding, the sound of his chest rising and falling that gives my subconscious the fuel needed to create my new paradigm. My pelvis gently thrusts into soft cotton. We've kept a barrier between us at night for years, since those first rumblings of puberty. It's not enough. It's not the pressure I need. It's torture this side of pleasure as my world begins to collide. I am aware of my eyes moving rapidly under my eyelids, a prelude to waking. No, I hear myself groan on a whisper of muffled breath. No. I clench my thighs tightly together. I am on the brink of something, a precipice, a revelation. I wonder if God can see and if he knows how sick I am with love. I wonder why he's done this to me. In church we are taught he has a purpose for everyone and everything, that he is aware of us in every way. Does he know how much I want? Does he judge me for a harlot even if I've never committed the sin? Does he watch me for his own bizarre pleasure? If there's a hell, I think I'll burn in it for how turned on I am at the prospect. In the end, all it takes is the firm press of my heated fingers over the fabric covering my clit, and I am coming, clenching hard on the emptiness between my swollen lips. I am torn away from my dream, left gasping in the night, and unheard by anyone but myself and God. I flop onto my back, eyes open and staring into the darkness. The air smells of stale breath, cold night air, and my lingering arousal. My eyes burn with unshed tears as I mourn the loss of the dissipating world I visited while asleep. Parker is peaceful at my side, innocent and unaware of my perversions. Disappointment is a heavy weight on my chest.
Oh my God, I loved that. I loved that.
That was
I
awesome.
really did. I can't wait. Oh my gosh, I can't wait. Okay, now I'm going to be messaging you every day. So how much closer are we? Oh my God,
yeah,
Sarah, I have to.
It's out there, kind of right out the gate. I kind of wanted to hit people right up front and be like, if you can't get through page 1, the rest of this is not going to be for you.
I have to admit there was a line in the beginning that I just for some reason it hit something with me where the different Kylies and stuff, and then the one line, there's always a Parker and I always love him. I was like, I loved that so much. I love it. I can't wait. I'm excited. Wow.
Yeah, I'm excited too, honestly. I'm really excited. And that was what I was waiting for, I think. Like, I didn't plan on being, a writer necessarily. So when I, put out the books and they were popular, those were written, like, bursts of inspiration from my heart, kind of just for myself sort of thing, So then when I kind of tried to duplicate that and force it, it just didn't pan out.
Right.
So this is more me.
I can't wait. I really can't. I mean, when you were on the show last time and you kind of gave a little hints away of what the new project was, I remember thinking, I don't get it. I didn't really get it. But I'm like, wow, after, hearing the reading and what it's about, and I think it's going to be, wow, I can't wait. And James, you don't get a free copy. If there's free copies, it goes to Xtina. I called it.
You get all the free copies. This is not fair.
I do not.
Sexist.
I do not.
It's sexist.
No, CJ is mine. She's mine.
I want free things. I must confess, I did get a free copy of Dustin's awesome collection. So, yeah.
And you got candy. You got candy once. So I never got candy.
Ooh, I love
that
candy.
That is true. Yes, I did. Yeah. That's going to be
some books laying around here I can send.
Oh, thank you. I love you. I don't get much.
So I have to hear, do you have a jingle for the embarrassing story thing? Do you have one? Because I'm sure CJ has awesome embarrassing stories, don't you? I mean, you have to.
Okay,
I embarrass myself on a very frequent basis.
And I'm Thelma.
In fact, I have one that's actually
what is
very
your
fresh.
most embarrassing story?
My most embarrassing?
Yeah.
Well, my most embarrassing story? Well, I don't know about my most, but I have one that happened like 2 weeks ago. I don't know. So anyway,
wow.
I recently had to take a trip to Florida. Anyway, while I was out there, I was out in the woods, and I got ate up by the mosquitoes. I got this is not an exaggeration, about 40 to 50 bites on the seat of my butt.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah, I was sitting in a lawn chair with like those mesh on the bottom. Anyway, eaten alive. So, I'm highly allergic to, things. And I get back home and I realize that I am itchy all over, like not just where these bites are, but like from my scalp everywhere. I'm convinced we've got bed bugs or fleas or something. Like I'm tearing apart the house. I itch everywhere. And finally, I'm like, you know what? I need to go to the doctor and figure this out. So I go to the doctor and I say, I'm itchy all over. And so he looks at my head and everything, and then he's like, well, your scalp looks good, very healthy. And I was like, oh, thanks. No. Anyway, he goes, well, I can't really, there's no like bumps or anything, no rash, whatever. And so he goes, well, so I tell him that I was in Florida and I got bit. And he goes, oh, really? That's a lot of bites. He goes, can I see the bite? And so at this point, I jump up off the doctor table, I pull my pants down, and I bend over. And he is quiet. And then he's like, oh, yeah, that is a lot of bites. He's like, it's probably residual histamine, right? So he gives me some Benadryl and some Allegra, whatever. And then he's going for the door, and he goes, usually I step out of the room so the patient can put on a gown. And then I come back in.
I remember you put that on Facebook, and it killed me. I laughed so hard.
So I just showed this man my ass, right? So, yeah, and then as he's leaving the door, I'm mortified. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm not shy, And he goes, it's all right. He goes, I like your underwear, or what do you say? See you next time, Batman. I was wearing these Batman underwear, so he called up.
Awesome.
I know. I do remember when she actually put that on Facebook, and I remember reading it and just cracking up. That was awesome. It was. I love that embarrassing story. And
That's a good one.
I'm glad that it.
I like to be fair. My favorite bit is the Batman underwear. That's a great little detail. I love that.
Yeah, you would.
That was good.
That is awesome. So it sounds like you're doing that weird demon thing again, James. It's not too bad yet, but just to let you know there.
Oh, right. I'll duck out for a minute then.
Yeah. And, yeah, we are almost out of time for our second segment there. So can you let us know where we can find you online, CJ?
Yeah, well, let's see. You can go to my website, aboutcjroberts.com, where you can learn about CJ Roberts, or just find me on Facebook. But if you go to the website, it's got all my social media links on there.
Right.
I'm pretty stalkable.
Yeah, and I did. I stalk really good, so we have all your links up on the Panic Room Radio Show's Facebook page as well, so people can go there and stalk you just the same way I did. And yeah, and I am definitely going to be stalking you more now because I cannot wait for this book. Is it going to be series?
You know, I don't know yet because let's just say the potential will be there, but it's not going to be any kind of cliffhanger or anything. It'll be a complete story. I'll stand on its own, and so that way, if I feel like I want to do more with it, I can. But you know, I never really know what's going to strike me. So.
Yeah, right. I definitely get that. I'm so excited though. I really am. And I have the reading, and I'm gonna have to. It was kind of hot. It was getting kind of hot, so I'm gonna have to go back and read it later tonight after I drink my next beer. So.
I have to not think about what I'm reading while I'm reading it, just to get through it. Otherwise, I feel stupid.
I think that if you do read your own stuff and kind of get a little turned on by it or a little hot under the collar, I think that's a good thing, right?
It's not bad. It's that when I write this stuff, I'm in the dark with my shame, and I'm making it happen.
No. Right.
when you're reading, you're like, hey, people, so this is what I write about when I'm alone by myself,
Yeah, don't judge me.
In my corner of shame.
Which, the funny thing is people are reading it.
Which is where I keep the lube, by the way.
Oh, God, in the corner. Awesome. I wanted to thank you again so much for coming on the show and promise to come back and well, you have to. Now you just have to. I'm not going to take no for an answer, and so.
No, you So I'm
oh my gosh, it's the demon right now.
I know almost every show James does this weird demon thing right at the end. I don't want to, I don't know why it's so bad at the end, only at the end. So, I'm thinking that this is I have to ask you, do you like baseball?
I like baseball uniforms.
Right. Thank you. I was going to say that, I'm always wanting people to ask me why my favorite team is the Toronto Blue Jays because I'm not Canadian. And the answer I have is that I think that they're the best dressed team in, the league. So that's what my answer is. Their uniforms fit them really, really good. Okay, so we are at the end of our show, and I hate that because you're an awesome guest, and I love to have you on. So thank you so much for coming on, and we will definitely have you back.
All right, well, thanks for having me, hon, and you guys have a good night.
Thank you, CJ.
Okay, good night. Bye.
Bye.
So I don't understand it. It's just yeah.
Do
this
I hang
is
up,
the time of night when James tells
what
me to say.
Sorry, she's gone. It's time to say goodnight, Xtina.
Good night, Xtina.
Good night from the pit of hell. It's been fun.
Well, get out in that kitchen and rattle those pots and pans. Get out in that kitchen and rattle those pots and pans. Well, I roll my black from the son of a hungry bird. Well, you wear those dresses, the sun comes shining through. Yeah, you wear those dresses, the sun comes shining through.
Napa know-how.
The Napa guy knows not to judge a man by his car's multicolored paint job or absence of modern gadgetry. Who cares if it's technically old enough to vote and the windows are powered by the strength of your left arm? Your monthly payment is zero, and it'll stay that way. Because with over 500,000 parts and a little Napa know-how, you can keep anything on the road. She may not be pretty, but she's all yours. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
Progressive presents Mindflowness with Flo.
You are a mighty fortress of supreme knowledge. Progressive Direct has not only revealed their rates, but those of their competitors. If you were any more in the know, you would be drowning in, the know.
Compare Progressive Direct rates with competitors' rates, because knowledge is power. Visit Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.